So today we are looking at YouTube channels. We're doing free YouTube channel reviews for the people that are hanging out in this stream. And how this whole thing works is I'm using a giveaway tool from StreamYard. And basically for the people that get their channels pulled up, and I'm starting a few minutes early here, but for the people that get their channels pulled up, how this whole thing's going to work is that I'm going to say a word. And then when that word happens, then not when that word happens, but I'm going to say a word. I'm going to show it on screen. And then all you have to do, if you're somebody that wants your channel pulled up, all you have to do is you have to put that word into the chat. And then I'm going to use this tool that's going to randomly pick somebody that put that word into the chat. And then we're going to pull up that person's channel, and we're going to just see what we can do to help them out, to help them get better results on what it is that they're doing. So this channel, hey Webster, what's going on? Golden Solution, nice to see you in here. Angry Owl Outdoors, hope that you're doing great. Nice to see you in here. Comics Undone, what's going on? So basically, for the stream today, since we are looking at YouTube channels, of course, the first rule is if you are going to say the word once I put it on screen, if you're going to type it into the chat, then that is your acknowledgement that you're okay for me to pull your channel up. Because if I pull the channel up, sometimes, people are like, oh, they're nervous about it or whatever, but it's perfectly fine. I'm not going to like roast you, or I'm not going to, talk negatively about your content. But what I am going to do is I'm going to highlight things that are obvious that you should be doing on your YouTube channel, or I'm going to bring things to your attention that you need to dial in that can help you, get better results on what it is that you're doing. In a lot of cases, it's going to default to like thumbnails and, how often you're publishing and your titles, because those types of things are going to move the needle way more for you than, things like having your channel art set up. I'm going to mention those things, but those things aren't going to move the needle for you as much as focusing on your thumbnails, your titles, and of course, the video content. Those are the things that are going to move the needle for you more than anything else that you can do. Focusing on your video content and getting attention to that video content through your thumbnails and titles if you're making long form content. So again, how this works for those of you that are just joining us is I'm going to put a word up on the screen. And when I put that word up on the screen, all you have to do is just type it into the chat, and you only have to type it in one time. And when you type it in that one time, then this tool that I'm using from StreamYard is going to register it, and then it's going to randomly select somebody out of the chat. So fortunately, we're doing this over here on the Tube Spanner channel. So, a lot of people here are going to have, a really good chance at getting their channel pulled up, because we don't have as many people here as if we were to do this on my channel. So we're going to just go ahead and get this party started. And all you have to do here is just put Tube Spanner. Just put the word Tube Spanner into the chat. There we go. Just put the word Tube Spanner into the chat, and then this is going to, randomly select somebody. So you can see the entries there as they go in. We're just going to get just a handful of them here. And then once we get this first handful, we're just going to pull one so we can get the party started. And if you could do me a huge favor also, for the people that come in and say things like as we get going in the stream here, and as, more people start showing up, when people are in here and they're asking, hey, how do I get my channel pulled up? If you could just remind them, because I'll be looking at channels, right? So if you could just remind them, say, hey, he does the giveaway. All you have to do is just put the word that he puts on screen in there. He'll be pulling another one up soon. That'd be super helpful, just so that we can, keep everybody informed as they're coming into the stream. I guess I should probably put something down here, maybe on the bottom of this background image, to just let people know that particular part too. But anyway, for now, just put Tube Spanner on the screen. I'm going to pull it here in just a second. And again, by putting Tube Spanner on the screen, this is you giving me permission to pull your channel up and give you some feedback on it. So we got 25. We're going to go ahead and hit draw. Okay, here we go. We got Monique Joyner. So Monique, here we go. This is the first one that we are going to pull up here. Congratulations, by the way, Monique. And hey, we got Midnight Madness 4x4 in the house. What's going on, dude? Hope that you are doing great. Monique says, after 3 weeks, it's time to get back to work. I hear you. Okay, so this is Monique's channel. So the very first thing that I do here, Monique, is I look at the channel and I try to figure out what it is that you do. So the faster that happens, and I'm just giving this context for everyone as well. So when I pull a channel up, first thing I look at is how clear is it to me what this person does. So in Monique's case, because I still haven't looked, I'm looking at the camera here, so I'm not looking at, you know, the channel. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to see like, okay, how long is it going to take me to figure out what she actually does? And the reason that this is important is because if somebody is watching one of your YouTube videos, for everybody here, if somebody's watching one of your YouTube videos and they're like, hey, this is great, let me see what else they have, and they land on your channel page, it's important to make sure that you have that clarity there so they can easily understand if that was a one-off video and you don't have other videos like that, or if you have a whole YouTube channel that's a resource for that particular viewer where they can watch anything. So the faster you can make that clear, the better off you're going to be. So let's look at Monique and see what we've got. Sharing the ins and outs of self-publishing. You got me. You nailed it. Right. So we'll put a big check mark here for Monique. We'll even make it green for good. Right. See, so we got that. Next, I'm going to look here at the little blurb that YouTube gives us where it says ready to be a published author. Subscribe now. Fantastic. You're basically reinforcing what it is that you're saying up here. Plus you're putting a call to action in there. All of that is great. Next thing that we're going to look at here is I'm just going to go down the screen here and just kind of see what you got going on. So one thing that I recommend that you do either on your website, or you can use TubeSpanner for this, or, you know, any other service that offers it. So one thing that I would do is instead of having all of these individual links here and using kind of YouTube as the link tree, I would make just one link. So it's just clean, right? Because right here, and this isn't really about growing your channel. This particular part, this is just a little optimization thing because you actually have stuff to sell. So I just want to talk about this really quick. But here, because it has this link here and then 8 more links, currently it's prioritizing that subscribe link to your YouTube channel. When in reality, like you have stuff, I'm sure that you're selling here. And because of that, you want to make sure that you're prioritizing that stuff. So because of that, what I recommend that you do is I recommend that you actually have your own link tree, because I see you have your website here. So you could do this technically on your own website. Or let me just pull up mine real quick. With TubeSpanner, they've got the social bio tool to where basically it's a link tree like this, and then you can send it to people. You can put a branded background in here. You know, you can embed a YouTube video. So it just gives you like a little bit more options in terms of, you know, just being a little bit more personable through the video and, you know, that kind of stuff. But I would do that so that way you have one link prioritized here. So if you go to my YouTube channel, I've got my Best Creator Tools website prioritized there, because then that way I don't have this extra text distracting them from it or anything like that. It's all just like, here, just go here, right? So I would definitely do that too. And again, the reason that I'm doing this, or that I'm even mentioning that when we're looking at the channel reviews, is because you are somebody that's, you know, driving revenue from this. And I just want to make sure that you are, you know, considering that sort of thing. So next, counting the cost of self-publishing book, your book really means for your wallet. Okay, that's good. Fantastic. 4 months ago. So just one thing to let you know as well. So I'm not sure exactly how, you know, what's involved in this particular video, but I do want to let you know that if you do have things to sell, you know, like your website, things like that, that you're bringing attention to, you have the option here. You can see this text blurb that I'm getting. So one thing that you can do here is to put a shorter description up here at the top, put a little call to action with your website, you know, about, hey, you know, learn more here on my website, and then a visible link, here, and then continue on with your description. And the whole idea there is that gives you the option to where you have a clickable link right here. And as somebody scrolls down the page, if they're on a computer, this only is going to work if they're on a computer. But basically, as you scroll down, then you're going to have that other option right here to give them a little bit of information about your website and then possibly send them over to your website. So it's adding an extra link to the page, essentially. Next up on the list here. So this one I'm just going to talk about really quick because this also impacts everyone. When you are publishing videos to YouTube, every YouTube channel, Miss Valentine, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. Bright Photoshop Tutorials, welcome to the stream. Oregon Trees Gaming, what's going on? Basically, when it comes to, hey, DMV, MTB, nice work. High five and fist bump to you. Congratulations on the 3,000 subs. So all of our channels now, we have this For You option. So one thing I just want to bring to everyone's attention is make sure that you go into this For You option and that you are only showcasing the videos that you want. So in your particular case, it doesn't look like you have any like live streams or anything like that showing up here. It looks like it is all pretty focused content. So you might have done this already. But for everyone here, you can tell YouTube if you want videos here, if you want live streams, or if you want shorts, or if you want all of the above. So you just have a little slider that you can turn all these off, and you can find that in your customization settings. So I just want to let you know that that's available. Okay, next, she's doing the best practice thing, which is the right thing to do here, where she is making all of her content easy to find for people that are, watching her videos. So let's say somebody watches, one of her videos, they can come here and they can find, her most recent videos. They can find, the most, the updated trends, and they can start educating themselves on self-publishing. So she's doing the right thing there as well for bringing attention to things that her audience will care about and actually organizing the content for them. So for everybody that's here, if you do not have this stuff set up, you don't have sections added to your channel page, then make sure that you do that as well. And just think about like what she's doing. Just think about it through the lens of if somebody's watching my videos based on this, then in that particular case, how can I make it easy for them to find more content like this? And the best way to do that for the people that hit your channel page is to organize your content into sections there. And the same thing with these. These are also great. Typically, I tell people not to really focus on shorts on your channel page, but in your particular case, it looks like you're doing very specific series around what it is that you're doing. So I think these are fantastic, and it's good that you keep these on here. The next thing I want to talk about here, we're going to get into more important things now. So the very first thing is thumbnails. So this is a place where I believe you can drastically improve. So when it comes to thumbnails, the role of a thumbnail is to grab the attention of the people that you are trying to reach with your content. So in your particular case, you're trying to reach self-publishers. So what I want you to think about is, let me see if I can get the size right on this. Why is it going backwards? That's weird. Let's go here. Oh yeah, it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, there we go. So if we look at this right here and you see reviews, love or hate. So for everybody that's hanging out in the chat right here, does reviews, love or hate with Mickey Mouse hands, thumbs ups and thumb down, for anyone here, is there one person that this particular thumbnail says, yeah, that's got to be about self-publishing? If there's one person, I'm going to be shocked. So the idea that I'm trying to express to you here, Monique, is when it comes to your thumbnails, the role of the thumbnail is to help the people that you're trying to reach identify that it's about something that they care about. Okay. So in your particular case here, it's a little bit better because you have, I published that. So at least the word publish is going to connect with somebody that's into self-publishing, right? Oh, publish. Well, what's going on there, right? Here, secret sauce for selling books. It's so close. Yes, you have the selling books. So you do have that thing can stand out. But the focus here on the imagery is the sauce. The real focus should be imagery that's related to selling, to self-publishing, not even selling books, but things that people that are self-publishing would recognize. So there's a couple things that you're doing right here. The things that you're doing right is you are keeping your thumbnails relatively simple, right? So that's a good thing. But the thing that you are doing wrong is clarity. It's really difficult here too, right? So it's like you and then a computer screen, it just says, don't do this, right? So all of these thumbnails should be updated to include some type of imagery that would help a self-publisher or somebody that's interested in self-publishing, that would help them identify that this has something to do with that. Okay, so that's step number one. In addition to that, it looks like you've also committed to some like colors and that sort of thing. All of that's fine, but just keep in mind that I wouldn't go real hard on the branding side of things until you prove that, okay, this particular template or this particular way of doing things seems to work the best for the people that I'm trying to reach, and then commit. In the meantime, experiment like crazy. Like right now, you're doing okay. You got, almost 1,500 subscribers on your channel. But I think that, with the templates and the very specific colors that you're using and things like that, I think that you shouldn't commit to that necessarily. I would try like, hey, let's see if people, react to blue. Let's see if people react to red. Let me try some different font styles. Let me, put myself in here more, right? Let me focus more on book imagery and things like that. I also am kind of 50-50 on just like the flat background panels. Those are okay. They're fine because it is part of, keeping things simple. But I would definitely, if you're going to do that, I would definitely lean really hard on the book imagery, because these like flat panel things, they're just really easy to, kind of go over, or by go over, I mean gloss over. So because of that, I would make sure that you are considering that. But like, getting book reviews, those types of things, all this is fine. But like here, 7 tips for self-publishing, a little better. Here, self-publishing a book, easy, also a little better because it's clear. But I would definitely find imagery that is representative of self-publishing. So in your particular case, what I'd do is I'd hop on Google, I would look at other YouTube channels, and I would be like, okay, how are people like visually explaining self-publishing, and how can I use some of that imagery? It might be books. It might be some other things that go along with self-publishing. But I would really lean hard on that imagery. And by the way, in terms of representing you well, these thumbnails here, they give you a more professional look, even though there's like too much going on. Like for example, like here, you're interrupting a word with like this big diamond, right? Where that should be clear. Maybe the diamond put like over here, something like that. But like some of these are like really good professional looking thumbnails. Right here, you got a little bit of overflow here onto the yellow. So if this is just a smidge smaller, it's way too much text. But if it was just, simplified a little bit in the text side of things to where it fit into this space a little bit better, like that's a really attention grabbing thumbnail, and it represents you well. That part is one of the things that is important to think about, especially if you're somebody that is being a thought leader in a space like you are, is, your thumbnails create it creates an expectation for what somebody's going to get on the other side. And if your thumbnails look janky, people are going to think the content is janky. If your thumbnails look professional, people are going to automatically be like, oh, this is probably good stuff, just because the thumbnail looks professional. So because of that, it's important to make sure that you are just considering that when it comes to your thumbnails as well. Again, I wouldn't commit to the template. If you're experimenting right now, that's great, and you should keep doing that. But it looks like this purple and yellow thing is something that you're sticking with. But I personally think that these represent you better. And you've even got better pictures like that. These pictures down here, they look better. In terms of the lighting here, like these look like they were actual photos with lighting, compared to this, which looks like it was almost shot on a cell phone. This one, maybe if this was bigger, it might look better. But, some of these, some of the images also look better than others. But yeah, so for your thumbnails, I would definitely work on that part of it. And then here, love or hate, navigating reviews as a self-published author. So when it comes to titles like this, one thing that you should always think about is, yes, in this particular case, people are, like YouTube is showing both lines of this text. But if you are reaching English speakers in that particular case, you want to try to get this self-publishing thing as close to the front of the title as possible. Because English speakers, we read from left to right. So when somebody reads this title, you don't want them to have to go through all of this to get to the self-publishing part. So because of that, reworking these, or at least removing things that are interruptive to it. So here, navigating reviews as a self-published author, right? There, the whole title is just kind of fluff. There's nothing really oomph there, right? You could pass right over this video and not even care. Whereas if you took out love or hate, and instead of navigating reviews as a self-published author, this self-published authors should handle reviews like this, right? It's more of a statement, more of like a, I'm certain this is how you should be handling this, right? Instead of like a navigating reviews as a self-published author, right? So it's just more of a statement. It's more like, more impactful. And you're also removing things that don't really mean anything when it comes to the title, right? So I would definitely consider that. Same thing here, right? The secret sauce for a stunning self-published book description, just reworking the title, right? And being like, okay, if this is the only way you can do it, it's fine. But if you're thinking to yourself like, okay, you know what, let me sit here and try to workshop this title a little bit. Let me throw into Chat GPT. Let me throw into Tube Spanner's title tool, whatever. Any of the title tools that are out there. Just let me work on this title a little bit. Let me send it to, let me just write down, 5 different versions, because you're an author, right? So you can probably brainstorm this stuff pretty easy, and just think, okay, how can I make this title more impactful? How can I make it, instead of let me add this video to my watch later list? How can you change the title from let me add this to my watch later list to I need to watch this right now because I want to make sure that I don't watch this video, right? So I'm sure when you're writing your books, you have psychology that you use, getting people, through different parts of the book and through different parts of the stories and all that. With this, it's the same thing. You have to leverage that psychology that you're already aware of with your YouTube titles and think, how can I get them to the point of this as quickly as possible? And how can I make them feel that they need to see this video? Okay. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper, and we're going to go into one of these actual videos. Okay. Next, this is a minor thing. So the next thing is when it comes to the production. There we go. You see how you are kind of sitting off over here a little bit, right? If you look at the spacing over here compared to over here, you're kind of lopsided in the image, right? I don't know if you stay this way or not, or if you're doing this intentionally for some reason. But when it comes to the production side of your content, you want to make sure that you are either, specifically on a third, or that you are dead center in the frame. This is just a video production thing. And the reason that people do that in movies, YouTube videos, TV shows, everything, they frame the subjects in that way, or the subject will walk into that path or whatever. The reason they do that is because it makes the video feel comfortable, and it's what we're all used to. And since it's what we're all used to, it feels awkward when things are not that way. So because of that, I would definitely make sure that you are just considering that on the production side. Lighting is fine. All of that is fine. Some people might say you're a little too close to the camera. I'm a big fan of being close to the camera, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. But if you did want to experiment and be like, hey, I wonder if people respond better if I'm a little bit farther back, or if I'm, all up in the camera like this. I've got bunches of content on my channel where I'm all up in the camera too. I love that style. I think it's great. But some people in my comment sections are like, whoa, dude, lean back a little bit, So I'm just experimenting, see if you notice like, hey, people will watch a video longer if I'm not all in their face, or people will watch less if I'm not in their face. And just experiment if you haven't done that already. Next. Nice work on the pinned comment. Love it. Hold on. Found typos in a published book. Share your experiences and advice here. Okay, that's actually not good. So you're almost there. So you're using the pinned comment, which is great, right? That's step one. You're doing the right thing in terms of using it. The thing that is not correct is that you should be leaning people into another piece of content here, and you don't even need to worry about the hashtags, because right now, what you need to do is you need to get people, engaged down here or watching additional content. So if you're going to get them engaged, just asking a question that they can answer really easily. Because right here you have, found typos in your published book, share your experiences, and ask for advice. That's a lot to ask of a viewer. Instead, what's the most challenging thing about self-publishing for you? Right? And then that way, like if you're doing this for engagement, then that way it's just a really easy question to answer for the audience that you're serving. They can be like, oh, I'm having these problems. And then that way you can also collect video ideas from it and things like that. So the easier you make things for people, the more you'll get. So if you make it easy to engage, the more people are going to engage. If you make it easy for people to find more content they care about, they're going to watch more videos, right? It's all that way. So because of that, just decide, am I going to try to send people into additional content here so I can get that extra, views and watch time and just lead them into content that makes sense to them for the viewer experience? Or am I going to try to get them to engage? If I'm going to try to get them to engage, I'm going to make these just really simple, bare bones questions that they can ask. And then I can either answer them directly there or I can make content about them. And then for the hashtags, these are leaks, right? So here, they've already made it. If you just think of the viewer flow here, right? They watch your video like, hey, this is a great video. She's awesome. I love it. Love this information. They come down here. They see this. They're like, yeah, I'm not going into the description. Let me check the comment section. Check this out down here. And then right here, they're like, oh, typos in a published book experiences. Writing community. Oh, I'm looking for a community to be a part of. Let me click on this. Gone. You just missed your opportunity to connect with that person further. Now, of course, if they enjoyed the content, they watch it for a long period of time, of course, YouTube's going to recommend more of your content to them. But you're making a leak out of your channel that also, if you look at the videos that are showing up here, you're not in here, right? This is all the content that people are responding to here, all older content for most of it. But this is the stuff people are responding to. So YouTube is putting it up at the top. So you're causing a leak here to where you might lose people and you might not ever get the chance to work with them again or impact them in any way or just connect at all. So make sure you're keeping that in mind. Next, have you ever experienced a seeking ability to serve in your book? Okay, so one thing that can also be helpful, because right now, even though you have 1,400 subscribers, you're still trying to get the view counts up. So in your case specifically, one of the things that you can do is, I'm not sure if you have heard about search engine optimization or not, but search engine optimization is where you optimize your videos so that when people are looking for them in YouTube search, you pop up. Now, of course, your ability to stay at the top of those search terms is going to be determined by how people respond to your content. So if people are clicking on it and watching it for a competitive amount of time compared to the other results there, then you're going to be able to keep getting views for search for a long period of time, and it can actually grow your channel very well, and it can also be very consistent traffic. But when you're not optimizing for search and you're only optimizing for recommendations, that's where the thumbnails have to be extra good. Your titles have to be extra good, because then you're not just answering their questions. You're actually trying to take people that are logging into YouTube, not looking for your content. They're logging onto YouTube looking for something else or just looking to be entertained or learn or whatever. And then you have to grab their attention off of a homepage or off of a mobile feed against all of this other competition of all of this other content that YouTube thinks is a good fit for that viewer, right? So because of that, I recommend that you mix your content up to where it's like, hey, I'm going to take these stabs at the recommendation system because it's a skill I need to develop. I do need to get good at that. So I'm going to learn how to do it. But I'm also going to optimize some of my content for search. And when it comes to optimizing your content for search, all you have to do is go up to the YouTube search bar here. You can also use like TubeBuddy or Keywords Everywhere for this particular thing. And you can come up here and you can say, okay, self-publishing a book. Right? And then here we can do self-publishing A, and we can see the things that come up here that people are looking for. Backspace B, see what they're looking for, right? C, same exact thing, right? And you can do that through the entire alphabet to look for ideas. Then you can go like SL, right? Slogans, sleep, slams, whatever. AL, see what comes up. AB, right? Abstract, self-publishing about books. AC, right? And you can just keep doing this. Until you're like, ooh, that's a good one. Let me see, what happens there. But when you click on one of these, then you're going to be able to see the people that you're competing against. And this is a really important part of search engine optimization. And Popcorn approves of this too. Popcorn's my dog, in case you don't know. He just came in to check on me. So basically what you want to do when you're optimizing videos for search is you want to say, okay, these are going to be the videos that I'm competing against. So, and I know Dale, by the way, he's a friend of mine. But basically you're gonna be like, okay, these are the videos that I'm searching or that I'm competing against. So let me actually click into these videos and see what the content is about, see how they started the videos. Let me read the comments and see if there's any questions that people didn't answer, in the video that they're getting beat up about in the comments. So I can start my videos off with that, those sorts of things. But basically what you want to do is you want to do like self-publishing a book, and you want to make sure that that particular phrase is in your title somewhere. You want to make sure that you also have it in your description somewhere, preferably towards the top. And then you also want to make sure that in your videos, you're talking about self-publishing a book, right? And when you do those types of things, one of the things that's going to be super helpful for you is for the terms that you do rank for in search, those will become continuous traffic sources for you for as long as you're in that top rankings of YouTube search there. So because of that, I would definitely have that as part of what it is that you're doing so that you can give yourself that extra traffic source. Because right now, the way that you're doing this, oops, I published that, typos and how to tackle them. Like YouTube's smart enough, the system's smart enough to put content into YouTube search sometimes that isn't optimized for search. But if you do optimize it, you're fast tracking that, right? So it's possible you could be getting some search traffic from this. but it's clear to me that you've optimized this for recommendations, not for search. So because of that, I would just mix it up a little bit. And even here, right? Like, oops, I published that, typos and how to tackle them. There's another thing that you can do here when it comes to your titles. I call these audience identifiers. So you can see it on my channel all the time. I'm like, in my titles, I'm like YouTubers or new YouTubers or content creators or live streamers. I call people out in the titles. And the reason for that is it helps the right people click on your content. And it also adds that little bit of clarity there, which also helps YouTube make sure that they're recommending it to the right people. Not they, but the system is recommending it to the right people because you have those things in the actual title itself and in your description, which adds just like another layer of clarity. So in this particular case, oops, I published that, typos and how self-publishers can tackle them, right? Which I still think that's a bad title. But anyway, like, how self-publishers can fix or handle or tackle, whatever language you want to use, typos in your published, books, right? Just being super clear there, I think would be much more beneficial to you than this. And that would also put an audience identifier in there. And then that would also put a keyword in there for self-publishing to where that might also help, some of the videos pop up in search just on the audience identifier by itself. So those are some things that I'd recommend to you right now. I could keep going, but I want to get some other people on here as well because we've been going on this for a while. But hopefully you found that helpful. One of the things that I do for anybody that I do pull up your channel, by the way, and Monique, this applies to you also. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that I said, because I know I ramble on and I say a lot of things. So if you have any questions about any of the things that I mention, feel free to DM me on Twitter. If you cannot DM me for some reason, then make sure you follow my account on Twitter and then @ me and be like, hey, you looked at my channel, I got a few questions. And then as soon as I see that, then I'll follow you and then I'll send you a DM. But try DM me first. And then that way, if you have any questions about anything, if you need clarity because it didn't make sense, or, I kind of glazed over something, or I started setting something up, but then I didn't, go all the way through with it, then in that particular case, just shoot me a message and then I'll add whatever clarity is needed. All right. So next up on our list here, we are going to do it again. So if you're just joining us, basically what we're doing is we are looking at YouTube channels and we're looking for things they can do to improve. So in this particular stream, this is all free. And all you have to do, thanks to TubeSpanner, which is the YouTube channel that we're on, TubeSpanner, if you're not familiar with it, is a YouTube productivity tool. Helps you in tons of different ways. A browser extension helps you upload faster, helps you share content out on your social media platforms without having to leave YouTube. They have AI script writing tools, AI title generators, a do next feature where it tells you what to do next on your YouTube channel, all kinds of really helpful tools, but it's a productivity tool for content creators that should be a part of your toolkit. You can check TubeSpanner out down in the description below. But here on this particular giveaway tool, all you got to do here is put in TubeSpanner 1, and then it's going to start pulling these in. Hey, Creaky Dude, if you're available after this, if you want to hop on a call, we can do that once this is finished. And then while these are coming in, I just want to remind everybody that this is, indeed free. All you got to do is just put that into the chat like everybody else is doing in case you're just getting here. And then I'm basically putting them into this particular tool right here, which is StreamYard's giveaway tool. If you go to StreamYard.com/giveaway, you can use this yourself as well if you're a TubeSpanner or if you're a StreamYard user, which TubeSpanner also works with. It integrates with StreamYard also. But with this particular tool, it's available for everyone. It's funny, all these tags that come in as this is as it's happening because TubeSpanner, right? When I do it on my channel, it's not all orange from all the from all the tags. It's funny. Okay, so we got 45 waiting for just a couple more to make sure everybody has a chance. And you only have to put it in one time. Zach, what's going on, dude? Looking forward to our conversation tomorrow. So Zach Talks Tech, he's in the chat right now, by the way, everybody. We are doing we're having a conversation on his channel tomorrow, just talking about, like YouTube and all the stuff about YouTube. So if you are interested in hanging out for that, make sure you go over and you check out his channel. And I think he's got it scheduled over there already. So just turn on the notifications for it. Angry Owl Outdoors, thanks. Appreciate it. They could try to hit me from there anyway. They wouldn't be able to hit me. So, as long as I'm just moving around a little bit, they can take all the shots they want. They're not, I feel safe here from the stormtrooper. All right, here we go. Okay.
Let's get this thing spinning.
Here we go. So we've got Pixie Dust Traveler. All right. Good. Let's see here. So Pixie Dust Traveler. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you guys know Marcus Jones or not. He makes amazing YouTube content, does all types of really cool stuff. Make sure you subscribe to him if you are not already. All right, Pixie Dust Traveler. Here we go. Okay, so the very first thing I do for those of you that have just joined is I look at the channel just at a glance, and I'm like, okay, is it obvious what this person's doing? So here, right out of the gate, from the name, I know you're doing some type of travel content, but I don't know exactly what it is that you're doing. I don't know if you are showing people like tips and tricks. I don't know if you are just letting people follow you on the journey. Like, I don't know exactly what it is that you're doing. So I would try to add some clarity there or here. So here, okay, I love sharing my travels with you. Okay, you're good. You got it. You're covered. All good, Tracy. So, so as we go down the page here, let me just see what you're doing here, just out of curiosity. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that is fine. Okay, and then here, sending that to buy me a coffee. That's fantastic that you have that above the fold there. Created playlists and then shorts. Okay, so the very first thing that I would do, and this is just a minor tweak, this isn't going to be like a game changer for you, but this is more about helping your viewers find the content that matters the most to them. So currently, in order to get to your most recent videos, I have to scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. So the first thing that I would do is I would take your recent videos playlist and I would move it all the way up here to the top. Then I would put the created playlist under that. Reason for that is because this playlist is featuring like Vlogmas train, which doesn't give any context to what you're doing on the train, where that train is, what train it is. Here in North Carolina, Ski Mountain, what to do in NYC, St. Mary's, George Coast, Tennessee, right? You have all these places on here, but some of this is like dated or not clear. So because of that, put your uploads playlist up here first. Just a heads up, everybody here should do this. And the reason that you should do this in terms of putting your most recent content up here at the top is because there's going to be people that are going to watch your videos, right? And when they watch your videos, they're going to be like, wow, this is great. I love this. I want to see what else this content creator has. And they're going to click on your channel name. Here, we'll do it real quick, right? So let's say we're watching this video. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Tracy was great. I click on her name to see more. And then now that I'm here on her channel page and I'm scrolling down, I have to go all the way down here to find recent content. There's a really good chance that maybe I'll get lost into one of these, or maybe I'm going to get taken into the short shelf that I'll never escape. So the downside of that is for those people, I'm not feeding people that are the most interested in my content into any of my newer content, right? So the reason you want to feed people into your newer content is because one thing that is really important to YouTube is serving your content to the right people so that they can enjoy it. This benefits you and it benefits the viewers of the platform, and it benefits YouTube because they're giving everybody what it is that they want, you know, the viewer and you. And as a part of that, when you are making it easy for people to find your most recent content and it's at the very top, they're going to look through this list first. Now, granted, you have some Vlogmas stuff in here that's not relevant anymore, which is one of the reasons I actually encourage people not to do Vlogmas type content. But none of this is relevant anymore, unfortunately. But for this New Year's one, this one kind of is. So as they hit your channel page, you want them to see this because you want people clicking on these videos because they're new. And the more viewers that come into these videos and click these and enjoy those or not, it tells YouTube, okay, these people are enjoying it, these people are not. And based on this information, let's find more people that are enjoying this content like these people. But the longer it takes for people to get into that content, the longer it's going to take the system to just nail the audience on that content. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're prioritizing your new content over sending people into the playlists. Now, I know that you're thinking, well, I want to send people into the playlist because I want them to go in and sit back and just watch a bunch of videos. And I support that. But just put your videos on top of it, right? Put your recent content on top of it so they can easily find it and go into it to train YouTube, and then let them come in and see some of the content in your created list. The next thing, sort some of this. So if the next thing on your page is going to be this, sort it. So like Vlogmas 2023, nobody cares about that anymore. That 2023 makes this irrelevant to pretty much everybody unless they're like a friend or family member or something like that. So to the general public, this might as well not even be there, right? So because of that, when it comes to choosing what it is that you're going to put here, make sure that you are putting content that makes sense to the viewer and that it is content that they can actually go in and enjoy right now and it would still be relevant. So when it comes to this also, like train, give some more information, like what train. And it's only one video too, so really not worth even having there in that particular playlist either. That's another one where you could just have a playlist here to where, let's say if we reimagined your whole channel page. First one is most recent content. Second one is train rides. Third one is North Carolina or skiing, however you wanted to categorize it. Next one's Myrtle Beach, videos. Basically, it's taking your content and breaking it down that way as you go down the channel page because you get 12 different sections. That would be the way to do it instead of trying to do it the way that you're currently doing it. But let's move on to more important things because those types of things are important, but they're not going to really massively move the needle for you. So let's talk about the things that will. So the very first is Vlogmas. Now, I know a lot of people do Vlogmas because, the increased ad revenue that comes from doing Vlogmas. Plus, a lot of people, around the holidays, they have time off and things like that. So they're spending a lot of time on YouTube and all of that. I get it. However, the downside of Vlogmas is it fills up your recent content with a bunch of stuff that as soon as it's over, it doesn't matter anymore. It's not important. It literally doesn't matter anymore. Because if you see content with Christmas trees on it now that we're late in January, it's like, oh, that was before, right? It just completely scrapes away the evergreen nature of content, especially with what it is that you're making. So because of that, it's really important as a content creator for anybody doing Vlogmas that you do think of this particular impact. Like if somebody comes to your channel and they dig your, like, let's say they dig your New Year's cruise because they're into cruises, the next thing they got to do is they're going to have to go through some of this content here in order to even get to anything that they might actually care about. So because of that, we got some up here. So because of that, I would just be very careful about that. The other thing when it comes to doing like Vlogmas type content is some viewers, like just, casual viewers of YouTube, some know what Vlogmas is and some don't. So when they land on your channel, if there's somebody that doesn't, then this creates like a barrier to entry in terms of like, okay, what's all this Vlogmas stuff? Like that doesn't even make sense to me. I don't even know what that is. That's like a YouTuber thing, right? So I would also just be careful about that language and frame the content. If you are going to do Vlogmas, frame it in a way that makes it more evergreen, right? So instead of it being like, okay, I'm doing Vlogmas and all this has to be about Christmas, like you did one up here that I saw to where it was like Vlogmas mall shopping, right? So instead of Vlogmas Day 17, right here, you can just re-optimize this title, even though it was Vlogmas Day 17. You can change this title right now to, oh, we had a great time at the mall shopping or something like that. And then you instantly make this content more accessible to people and you take away the dated nature of it. When they click in, they're going to see it's the holidays. But if it's all framed around just the trip to the mall, then it's not that big of a deal compared to if the video starts, you're like, hey, welcome to day 17 of Vlogmas. Then right there, you're also disqualifying.
Disqualified.
You're disqualifying that content from the viewer, right? So you got to make sure you're just being sensitive to these types of things because they do have long-term impact. Other things that happen as well is, like let's say somebody comes in and they watch, we'll say this video right here. In that particular case, if somebody really enjoys this video, YouTube's going to try recommending some of this other stuff to them too. And since YouTube favors recency, they're probably going to try testing some of this more recent content first. And you've got like 30 pieces of content here, maybe not a full 30, but you've got a nice handful of, pieces of content here that is all dated content and just pretty much irrelevant when YouTube recommends it to people. So you might have some people trickle in, but in terms of like scale, people being like, oh, I need to see this, you're kind of working against yourself there. So I would just be careful about doing that kind of stuff next year. But if we get past all that, let's go down here to the stuff that you're doing, more regularly on the channel. So if we go here, and by the way, this thing I'm using to draw on the screen, this is TubeSpanner's sketch tool, by the way. So if any of you do like tutorials or anything like that, this is actually part of their browser extension, and this is part of the free tools that TubeSpanner offers. So if you do, do this kind of stuff, there's like arrows in here where you can point to stuff, and you can draw boxes and all this other fun stuff as well. But if that is something that you're interested in, make sure you check that out. But anyway, If we go into the stuff that is more evergreen, like here, you like your train ride. I think this is good. And the reason I think this is good is because it's you. It's a train. You got some imagery here. I would actually scoot you over just a little bit more and show more in depth going back in the train so it looks more like a train, because you could technically be sitting in any chair. But it at least grabs that attention. The first class, I'm sure, will grab some attention. And then you have here, we took a first class train to Georgia. So that particular title, it's informative, but this particular title is also about you. So this particular thing I'm getting ready to say right here is really important to anybody here that's making vlog content. When you're making vlog content, if you're uploading it to the internet and you want other people to enjoy that content that are not your family members or your friends, make it about the viewer, not about yourself. And what I mean by that is here, we took a first class train in Georgia. It's cool. It's interesting, right? Yeah. Oh, wow. They took a first class. That's interesting, right? So you're being informative. You're letting people know what the video is about, which is the right thing. But if you want to level it up, what you can do is you can tweak it to make it about the viewer. So instead of we took a first class train in Georgia, this first class train, right? You're removing the Georgia to make it more widely accessible to anybody that's interested in trains or train travel or just travel in general. This first class train was way better. This first class train ride was way better than we thought. Or if the video, if it wasn't that great, this first class train ride wasn't, as great as we thought it would be, or shorten it. This first class train ride, sucked, was horrible, whatever impact word you want to put there. But basically, as soon as you twist that, then you make it about the viewer, right? And you make it a little bit vague, because one of the things that you have here, unless you're teaching people, okay, this is the train, this is the station you go to, these are the different options they have for pricing, this is where you go to buy a ticket, this is how you get on the train, this is where the bathrooms are, these are the type of seats you're going to sit in. Unless you're teaching people like that, then you should just remove the Georgia thing also. And the reason for that is because that removes a qualifier for the content. With everybody here, when you're making videos, it's fine to make super narrow content that that is only accessible to people that are just super interested in a very specific topic, right? But when it comes to niching down on YouTube, it doesn't mean that you have to be that super specific. What niching down on YouTube is that you're trying to reach a specific audience of people that are interested in a very specific thing or very specific types of things. And in this particular case, when you stack Georgia on there, for some people, if they're going to Georgia, then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is interesting. But for wider accessibility for this content, if you just make it about the train and the experience, like, hey, this first class train ride didn't meet, expectations, then in that particular case, it changes the perspective towards the viewer, the framing towards the viewer, and then you remove the things that would limit the reach of the content in terms of the people that might respond to it, right? So when it comes to writing your titles, you just want to make sure that you are kind of going broad within your niche if you can. In some cases you can't. In some cases it's like, well, this is how I got to do it. But if you can, you want to try to, make it as broad within your niche as you possibly can. If you do that and you continue to do it and the video content's good, just that by itself will make a substantial difference on your YouTube channel. Skywheel, Myrtle Beach, sunrise ride. Yeah, same thing here, right? Like, you don't want to be overly sensational to where it's like, hey, this is total clickbait and I know it. But you do want to make it interesting for people. Like here, Skywheel, Myrtle Beach, sunrise ride. It looks like you're trying to get this into search or something maybe, but instead what you're doing is you're like just keyword stuffing a title. This would be also much better if this wheel was blown up just a little bit more where it takes up more of the frame here. And then you can still have, your picture here if you want, but basically more emphasis on the wheel since that's what the video is about, instead of it being kind of in the distance here, just to where a hard focus on the wheel, maybe even cut some stuff out if you need to make sure that it's prominent in the thumbnail. And then down here, instead of Skywheel, Myrtle Beach, sunrise ride, same exact thing. This Skywheel, this Skywheel was, was amazing, or I've been, let's see here. Anyway, doing the same thing that we did before with the title in terms of just kind of making it a real title, which would be the first step. And then trying to think of how can I target this towards the viewer, right? This sky wheel, was way better than we thought, something like that, is definitely something that I would do. Yeah. Same thing with like, some of these, it is important to like nail the actual, like here, this is the actual cruise boat. There's going to be a lot of people interested in that. That's important. But, some of these things you can probably, since it's a vlog, right? It's just like, hey, follow me with my thing. Like make it more about you and the audience and less about the location, right? And by doing that, it'll just make the content more accessible to more people. So I'd work on those things to get started. And then we'll move on here so we can get another channel or two in here before this is over today. So we're going to do Pixie, Tracy, if you have any questions about any of that, DM me on Twitter. I can workshop, back and forth through DMs or whatever, and try to help you with some of that if you need it. But just as part of your channel being pulled up here, just feel free to reach out on Twitter DMs if you need to. All right. So we're going to do that again. So if you are just joining us, what we're doing is we are looking at YouTube channels. We're just giving them tips on things that they can do to improve, give their videos more reach, and just to help them get, more activity on the channels overall. We're also talking about, just some minor, optimization things and things like that, just to make it easier for viewers that do enjoy your content to find more of the content they enjoy. So I'm going to put another hashtag in here, and we're going to make this easy. Tube Spanner 5 is the word. If you just put Tube Spanner 5 into the chat, then it's going to log you in here. You only need to do it one time. And then once this gets a handful of entries in here, then we're going to pick one and we're going to pull it up and take a look.
Let's get.
What else do we got in here? Oh, that's nice.
Mode alert. Mode alert. Mode alert.
You can use AI for all kinds of fun stuff these days. Okay, so we're at 45 entries. We're going to grab just a few more, and then we're going to spin this puppy. All right, here we go.
Let's get this thing spinning.
Here we go. Camping Pups RV. Love it because there's dogs involved. See what you got here. Boom. Quick find. Okay, first thing, we got Camping Pups RV, Camping Pups RV, RV tips and tricks, PT RVing. So I guess that stands for part-time. Welcome to the Ultimate Guide to RV Life. Join us and our pups, Jackson and Maggie, as. So I think this is fine because you have the, welcome to the Ultimate Guide to RV Life. That's the important part. And then up here, you give the, information that's about the pups and stuff, but I would definitely simplify this up here and just say, RV tips and tricks, for traveling with dogs or, something like that. Just make it just crystal clear for people. As we scroll down the page here, we've got, okay, this is a short, so I'm just going to skip that. Popular videos, RV walkthroughs. Okay, so same thing with you. What you want to do is right up here at the top, instead of focusing on the popular videos, you want to focus on new videos at the very top and then put your popular videos underneath that and then have all the playlists that you currently have on the way down. By doing that, you're feeding viewers that do hit your channel page as they enjoy your videos. They click your channel page looking for more. You're feeding them into new content, which then helps fine-tune YouTube on who they're recommending the content to, because the people that go in there and enjoy the video, because they're hitting your channel page, going in there and they're, enjoying that video, that's telling YouTube, somebody like this is enjoying this content. Therefore, let's find other people on the platform that are enjoying content like this, just like this person is, and let's recommend this content to them too. That's how the system works in a nutshell. So because of that, you want to make sure that you do put that new uploads playlist at the very top. What you did down here with, putting the content into sections like this, this is a very good move and you should continue to do that. when it comes to, hold on, wait a minute. There we go. I was like, wait a minute, I just saw videos. Why is this telling me that it doesn't have any videos? Okay, so let's see here. So visual tour. A couple things to think about here. And, keep in mind, with this, because, you got 200 subscribers right now, 91 videos, like, you're well on your way. But you definitely need to fine tune some stuff here. So the very first thing is here, when it comes to this thumbnail, the first thing you want to think about and the thing that you want to prioritize when it comes to your thumbnails, and this is for everyone here, we all want to prioritize the thing that's going to help the viewers identify that this content is about something that they care about as fast as possible without any distractions. So the first thing you should think about when you're making a thumbnail is how, and I'm focusing on this one right now. We'll do both of these right here. So the first thing that you want to think about is, okay, what about this thumbnail is going to help somebody identify it? Clearly, you have RVs in both of these, right? So you're doing the right thing there. Okay, these both have RVs in them. It's going to help people identify that are into RVs. They're going to see the RVs. They're going to come in and click. Technically, yes. But then the next thing you got to ask yourself is, with that thing that I'm using to help people identify this is about something that they care about, am I doing anything to get in the way of that? Which in this case, you are. So right here, the thing that's most important in this image is this RV. You are important, but in terms of, grabbing attention with the thumbnail, this facial expression that you're doing doesn't matter. The word visual tour doesn't matter. The thing that matters is the photo of the RV and that they can see the RV in its entirety. That's the thing that matters here. So because of that, the first thing that I would do is I would go through your videos like this one, right? Visual tour, I'm taking it out. Me taking it out. I'm just going to use the photo, a good photo of the RV that clearly shows the RV and it's prominent in the frame. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do this same exact thing with this thumbnail. I'm going to focus it all on the RV. I'm going to take me out and I'm going to take out this text of the under 50 gifts. So one thing I want you to think about, everybody here, when it comes to your titles, and I got to do this too, right? It's all part of our thing as content creators here, is our thumbnails and our titles, they work together as a team to win the click. Technically, our topic, our title, and our thumbnails, they work together as a team to win the click. So right here, you have under $50 gifts, and then you have top 15 gifts under $50, the RV in your life, for the RV in your life, okay? So there's a couple problems with this video, like by itself, but we're going to talk about those here in a second. But the thing I'm trying to bring the attention to is that when it comes to under $50 gifts, you already have that here. Under $50, gifts under $50 for the RV in your life. So you're being redundant here for no reason. So again, this is why it's important to focus on the thing that matters to the viewer and helps them identify that this is something that they care about, which in this case would also be the RV. So I know that, as content creators, especially when we're first getting started, we see like, hey, people have their faces and their thumbnails and they have, text on their thumbnails and things like that. And they do. But the very first step in making effective thumbnails is focusing all of the viewer's attention on and learning to focus all of the viewer's attention on the thing that matters to them, right? So that it'll just stop them. That's all you're trying to do with the thumbnail. The thumbnail itself, some people will just click because it's the biggest thing. But the thumbnail itself, if you look on a YouTube's homepage, if you look on your phone, if you look on your TV, the thumbnail is the biggest thing. And it's because it grabs the attention. So because of that, what you want to happen in the viewer's brain is you want them to see that thing that they care about. If they're scrolling, you want them to go, oh, an RV. I love RVs. What's this? And then they read the title to figure out what it's about, right? That's how they work together. So you come up with the topic of the video, and then it's like, okay, we've got the topic. I know that RVers are going to love this. And then you have the thumbnail. How can I help an RVer at a glance without any struggle whatsoever identify that this is about an RV? The way that you do that is by slapping an image of an RV on there and not having anything else that's distracting with that. With this, how you have it cut out, I think that is going to be an interesting experiment for you to figure out, like, okay, do people respond better to RVs in natural environments, like in this photo, or do they respond better to RVs when I, cut them out and then I feature them on some type of cool looking background? That's an experiment for you to run, but the idea is to focus people on the RV because that's the thing that's going to grab people's attention, and then from there they're going to read the title. Okay. Next thing is in this particular video right here, the reason that I mentioned that there are other things to talk about here is right here, you have top 15 gifts under $50 for the RVer in your life. So one thing to think about when it comes to YouTube is your channel is targeting people that are into RVs, okay? So if you're targeting people that are into RVs, you do not want people that are not into RVs clicking on your content and watching your content. Because how YouTube system works is, let's say, hey, Danielle, you know what we need in this sketch tool? We need a note, like a scratch pad to where we can click a button and then it creates a layer here. And then we can just like draw on that layer. So it's like an unobstructed view, just like a plain white or plain black, depending on the mode that we're using. And then, you know, we can just use that as like a scratch pad to explain ideas. That would be super awesome for this tool. But when it comes to how the system works, if you have this video right here and you have RVers pouring into this video, then in that particular case, some of those people are going to like your content. Some of those people are not. And for the people that do like the content, YouTube's going to go, hey, for these people here that liked this content, who else do we have on YouTube that would also like this content based on them watching similar things as these people? And let's recommend this video to those people and see if they respond to it. This all breaks down when you have people that are not into RVs watching your content. And then those people enjoy that content. Let's say they watch it halfway through or they watch it all the way through. YouTube detects that those people that are not into RVs are enjoying your content. Then what YouTube's going to do is it's going to say, okay, well, you got these people over here that are watching this RV content and they're enjoying it, but the system doesn't know that these people are just watching this video because they want to get gifts for the RV people in their lives. What YouTube is looking at is, okay, are these people enjoying this video on this channel? If the answer is yes, then what are these people watching? What are these people choosing not to watch? What are these people engaging with? What are they not engaging with? What do they seem to enjoy when they click on it? What do they not enjoy? And then it looks for other people on the platform that are just like those people, and then it's going to recommend your video to them. So the problem with this type of, you know, video, even though it's good in terms of like, hey, you know, this would be great for an RVer to share, or, you know, maybe I can make some affiliate money here. It's getting in front of the wrong people. And then therefore, those people are going to get recommended some of your, you know, other content, and then they're not going to respond to it because they don't care about RVs, because they were just watching this one video for that. And then therefore it's going to hurt your click-through rate. And it's basically just going to hurt who your content is getting recommended to for a relatively short amount of time, because it'll adjust when they don't respond, but you're just complicating things for yourself. So because of that, everybody here, what we have to do is when we're making videos for our channels, just run it through this filter. Okay. Say, these are the people that I'm trying to reach with my channel. So make sure that first you understand that. Who am I trying to reach with my channel? Who is it I'm trying to reach, and what is it that I'm offering? Then once you have that clear, then before you commit to making a video and publishing on your YouTube channel, think to yourself, is this a good fit for the people that are interacting with my channel that I'm trying to reach? Is this a good fit for them? If the answer is yes, then see the video through. If the answer is like, well, you know, I mean, it's about RVs, but, you know, it's probably going to have, you know, people that are into RVs watching it because they're going to be curious, but then there's probably going to be some people that aren't into RVs that are going to watch this too. So yeah, it's probably not the best for this channel. If I want to make that, maybe I should put it on another channel. But for my main channel, if I'm trying to grow it and trying to, you know, accelerate things a little bit, then in that case, let me make sure that everything I'm putting out is for that intended audience that I'm actually trying to reach. Let's see here. So next thing I want to look at really quick, luxury on wheels, touring the Class A Winnebago Inspire RV in Glyphs. Technically, by the way, this is a good title. It's just the wrong audience, right? In terms of you know, who it's getting in front of. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, all of that's good. So then it's RV, like pet lovers, all of that's good. Yeah, this is another one where, like, in your thumbnails, I would also emphasize the RV, because, you know, like one problem that we run into as content creators, like, let's say, because TubeSpanner has a thumb design tool inside where, as part of your TubeSpanner account, you get, you know, you can make thumbnails in there for free. But let's say if you're making thumbnails with TubeSpanner, you're making them with Photoshop, or you're making them with Canva, whatever it is you're making them with. when you're making the thumbnail, and we all go through this, and this is like a thing that we have to learn, is we make the thumbnail where it's on our screen or on our phone screen, and it's like this big, right? And then we'll upload it to YouTube, and we assume that, you know, everywhere on YouTube it's going to be that big too, but it's not. So like if I click into this video right here, let me close this real quick. And you look over here in this sidebar, look how small everything is, right? So in your case specifically for that dog video that you have, and TubeSpanner also has a thumbnail thing where I can embed it into the page here, but I'm just not going to do it because we're like running tight on time right now. But so everybody here, you can test your thumbnails this way and just kind of see what they look like in suggested videos. All you got to do is when you install TubeSpanner's extension is click on this little thumbnail icon and then just upload your thumbnail here and then hit preview. And then it's just going to randomly put it somewhere over here on the side. So you can just get an idea what it looks like. But anyway, let me make this bigger so everybody can see it. But when things are viewed at a small size like this, then that clarity gets broken, right? So you can see here, right? Like with this one, they have a really big RV. So since they have a really big RV, and let me make this clear here. So right here, since they have this really big RV, then it's clear that this has something to do with an RV. When we have, let's see here, this one's kind of hard. Here, this one too, really clear, right? It's a little bit polluted with him, you know, being in there too, but super obvious that it has something to do with, you know, RVs or tour buses or whatever. So, you know, like the imagery is big enough that it grabs your attention, right? That's the idea. So you want to make sure that when you are putting your thumbnails together, that you're thinking about, you know, we should just do thumbnail reviews, like thumbnail and title reviews. That'd probably be a better move. But anyway, what you want to think about is like, okay, if this is that small, and let's just scale it down, right? Let's just do the exercise. And let's just see if we can do it here. Here, I'm on a PC instead. So that size is about like this. And the dog, totally, right? You can see the dog all day long. Celebrate safely with your pet all day long. RV, it's shadowed by this other stuff. And it's so small that unless you're analyzing the thumbnail, unless you're literally leaning in and analyzing the thumbnail, you're not even going to see that RV, right? So you just got to make sure that for everybody here, whatever it is that is going to help the viewer identify that your content is about something that they care about, you got to make sure that that is prominent and big enough so that as a suggested video, that they'll be able to see it clearly there. On home pages, they'll be able to see it clearly there. Next, I'm just going to click in here real quick. Also, just really fast, if you are making videos in a 16:9 aspect ratio, if you're going to upload them that way, record them that way too. If you're going to make a short, record it vertically. But if you're going to make a video like this, then just record it in that way. Because then that way it just makes it, you know, makes sense when you're watching it on a TV or on a computer. Join us to explore the ADA content class on Bigo, all of that. Okay, you have like a real description. That's good. So another thing too, just as a quick sidebar, when you are uploading videos to YouTube, just keep in mind, like, you know, once you're like, as your channel grows, you're going to be able to apply for different affiliate programs. Since you are talking about RVs, you can put together a list of like your favorite, you know, RV components. You can put together a list of like, you know, the things that you recommend RVers have, that kind of stuff. And you can lead people in your video down to it. And then when, like, just let them know, hey, by the way, I got, you know, this list I put together of my favorite, you know, my must-have RV essentials. I got a link to those things down in the description below. Go check them out. And then when they go down there and they click on one of those links and they make a purchase of one of those things you recommend, then you can make money. When they do that, you get a commission. So I would definitely just kind of keep that in your mind for just additional monetization, either now or, you know, down the road as you get things rolling a little better. So yeah, so let's pull up another one here. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Again, if you have any questions as well, just make sure that you DM me on Twitter, and we will, you know, help get you sorted there on adding any clarity to anything that I mentioned. So our next thing here is we're just going to do 12, just because why not? So we'll do TubeSpanner 12, and all you got to do here is put TubeSpanner 12 into the chat. And as you put that in there, then this tool that I'm using here from StreamYard is going to collect those entries out of the comments. You only need to put it in there once. And then once this gets up here, just a little bit, I'm going to hit draw, and then we're going to pull up a channel and we're going to look at it. Okay.
Let's get this thing spinning. Let's get this thing spinning.
Let's go.
Let's get this thing
Four
spinning.
more. One more. Love sound effects. All right. So let's go.
Let's get this thing spinning.
Holy. I wonder who it's gonna be. All right, we got Mr. Bad Gamer in here. Congratulations to you, Mr. Bad Gamer. Let's see what we got here. So I'm gonna pull you up. Let's get you pasted in and see what you got. Okay, how many gamers are here? If you're a gamer, just say me real quick. So let's see here, 24 subscribers, 26 videos. Nice, nice, moving along. Okay, so here on the channel, what are you doing? Introducing the ultimate gaming companion armed with powerful fight stick. Okay, so make this a little bit succinct and make it value focused, right? So basically what this is for, let me make this bigger. What this is for is this is simply just to let people know what they're going to get from the channel, right? Design this whole part right here. And for everybody here, make sure on your YouTube channel that you design this whole part right here around the value that viewers are going to get from your channel. Make sure you don't put in filler words and things like that are going to cut off anything that's important, and that you front load everything with clarity for the viewer so that as soon as they land on this page, they can get an idea of what it is that you do. This shows up on computers and it shows up on mobile devices. So because of that, it's something that you can leverage to add clarity to what it is that you're doing. Next, okay, so we got your For You on here. That's fine. Third strike, I got obliterated. How not to play in ranked. My humiliating losses. Skills. Okay. So a couple things. So the very first one, I'm going to guess that this right here is part of the imagery for the game that you're playing, which is a good move. One thing that I would do is I would not focus on you for this, and I would put more prominence here. It's fine that you put embarrassing there, but I would just make this just a little bit more prominent, because currently how this goes is your eye kind of goes over to this, and then you can either go down there or here. So I would just kind of remove you from this because of the red that you have in your shirt, or just change the color of your shirt to help this stuff here stand out a little bit better. When it comes to that, what you're doing here is good because she stands out, as the primary there. This one also does. So primary, you are secondary as it should be. Here, you're kind of competing with each other. So one just easy thing, and you can actually see it in action right here, is when you make one thing bigger than another, that's just a way and design that you can bring more attention to one object than another in a frame. So because of that, I would just make her bigger over here and just make sure you're not covering her up with any text. You've also got like just a lot of, space here. I would just try to organize that a little bit. Don't like clutter it up with nothing, but just like fill it up with her, right? So like she is like here. And then maybe if you want to put you like, down here somewhere, you can do that. And then if you wanted to have text there, you could. One thing I would consider experimenting with, if you haven't done this in the past, is using actual screenshots of the game with emphasized characters. Oh, you're just getting started. Welcome to YouTube. So basically, when you are making your thumbnails, like how you're committing to this green background right here, I wouldn't commit to that yet. Instead, I would try to use like a screenshot, kind of like you have there, and then sample out, one of the images there, make it prominent. And this, if you don't know how to do that, this is something that you should learn as a content creator. Sample her out, make her prominent, and, make her stand out there with the game imagery in the background so that the total emphasis is on the game imagery, again, to help people identify that it's about that game. Because right now you're putting you in here and you're not really adding much to this conversation in terms of the visual conversation with a random person on the internet that you're trying to pull into this video. So because of that, I would focus everything right now on the game imagery. so you can get them into the video. Racism scandal, the disturbing accusation against Harada. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Level up your SFX skills with the magic of storytelling. Yep, that's good. Third strike, I got obliterated. So here, just as a heads up, this is another accessibility thing. So when you mention on here that you got obliterated, that tells people right out of the gate, like what happened in your video. I mean, technically, some people might come in because they want to watch you get obliterated, which is fine. And that might have been the intention. But when it comes to this type of thing, like you're kind of finishing the video before the video is even, watched. So because of that, I would try to create more of a curiosity, gap here. So for example, in this third strike, I couldn't believe this happened, when I was playing third strike, something like that. Let's see here, third strike. Or I was completely embarrassed by, third strike, something like that. That still makes it about you, which is, fine. But I would just try to make it just a little bit more, interesting or compelling there, to where you just leave a little bit without kind of giving away exactly what happened with everything in the video. Gamers' frustration with Street Fighter 6. Let me actually see what you're doing, because I think you're playing games, but you might be doing commentary here. Hold on. Are you playing or are you doing commentary? I like your setup. That's cool. Okay, so I think you're playing. Okay, yeah, you're playing. Okay, yeah. So in that particular case, make it about the gameplay, because here you have Mr. Bad Gamer's frustration with Street Fighter 6, right? This is one kind of like we were talking about with Pixie Dust Travelers, where it's about making it about the viewer instead of about you. Here you have Mr. Bad Gamer's frustration with Street Fighter 6, which you might be trying to ride like something Dr. Disrespect does or something like that. But Dr. Disrespect has a following already. Right now, what you need to be thinking about is, in order to get to there, I need to first meet people where they're at and pull them in based on me being a stranger, because right now you're a stranger. Once you get like a nice big following of people that are coming in and they're regularly watching your videos and they know who you are, that's where you can start doing things like this. But for right now, nobody, I mean, I don't mean this the wrong way, but a random person on the internet right now doesn't care about who Mr. Bad Gamer is. So because of that, you need to make sure that you're making all of this about them, right? So it's like, instead of Mr. Bad Gamer's frustration with Street Fighter 6, this is why Street Fighter 6 sucks, right? So then that way, people that love Street Fighter are going to be like, wait a minute, why does this suck? And they're going to click in and watch it. And people that also think Street Fighter sucks, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I think so too. What are their thoughts on it? And then they're going to come in and watch it too, because it's the whole echo chamber thing. So because of that, remove that from your title and always make it about the viewer if you can. If it's about something that you're doing or something, you have to make it about you. That's fine. But try to try to point everything at the viewer. And another easy exercise here is, because a lot of times people are trying to, they're thinking about it through the lens of like, okay, I'm trying to get in the YouTube algorithm and stuff like that. The way that actually happens is through connecting with the viewer, the potential viewer. So what you should start doing, Mr. Bad Gamer, is when you're writing titles, think to yourself like this. Okay, if I was into the type of content that I'm making, which I'm going to guess you probably are, then if I were to see this on my homepage, why would I click on this? Not just, would it grab my attention, which is an important part, not just what's compelling about this title and all that, but why would I click on this? Would this matter to me? If this was somebody else's name, if it was, if it was me, right? If you don't know, if you haven't watched any of my content before and you just saw, somebody that you didn't know and you saw this, would that matter to you, right? So it mattered to 100 people, which is fine, right? You're heading in the right direction. But if you want to really scale this up and you want to, get growth as fast as you possibly can, make it accessible for as many people as possible. And the way that you do that is you strip away the things that make it to where people, need to care about that thing in order to care about the content. So here, Mr. Bad Gamer's frustration with Street Fighter 6, they got to know who you are in order for it to matter to them. And two, they got to care about who you are for that to matter to them. But if you optimize everything around Street Fighter 6 and your positive or negative opinions or, the gameplay, whatever, If you're optimizing everything around this, then in that particular case, anybody that cares about Street Fighter 6, your content is instantly accessible and important to all those people. That's the idea. Let's see here. So another thing, just as a heads up, especially right now as you're trying to get momentum on the channel. So as long as you're not sharing this out anywhere, if you're sharing this out into like different like Facebook groups trying to get attention, if you're sharing this out into like subreddits and things like that, just getting people to come over, then it's not going to matter. But if you are getting this 96 viewers organically on YouTube, which is what I hope is happening, then in that case, instead of do you like modern controllers or classic, let's hear it from you, you can actually use this pinned comment. Like the fact that you're pinning a comment, you're like already ahead of a lot of people because a lot of people don't even do that. So it's good to use regardless of how you use it. If you're asking a question or if you're sending people to other content, but where you're at right now, I would use this to send people to other content instead. So if you are, okay, mostly organic from YouTube, perfect. So what you want to happen is if somebody watches this video and you're like, oh man, this dude's awesome. You want them to scroll down. Of course, you want them to leave a comment, but as they're coming down to see what other people think of you or what other people think of the video, you want them to see here, hey, if you like Street Fighter, I have a playlist of Street Fighter videos that I made. You can watch them here. And then you have a link to your playlist of Street Fighter games right here. Then that way, what you're doing is you're making it to where the people that are really into what it is that you're doing, you make it easy for them to come into here and to go and watch more content. Of course, they can do it by going to your channel page. They can do it by hopefully going to your video description if you have links down in your video description also. You do not. So you also want to make sure, there's another thing you're doing here too. So first, make sure that you are linking to other content on your channel page. Just as a heads up here, just in case you don't know this, for those of you that are using TubeSpanner, in the browser extension, in the upload assistant, you can add preset descriptions, right? To where you can just click on it and you can fill out the entire description, right? Like here for this. You can also do things here to where, like, let's say, let me delete all this so you can see what I mean. So let's say that I'm wanting to make sure that I'm linking to videos. As part of my upload process, what I can do is I can be like, okay, I need to make sure I'm adding some relevant videos here. So because of that, let me go down here and see these videos, and I want them to watch this, or I want that to be available. And then I want this one to be available. And then you can just link it directly in there and then build the text around it, right? So it's just a really efficient way to add links to your video descriptions. And you should be adding links to other content and other playlists in your video descriptions that are either relevant to the video they're watching. So in this case, it would be other Street Fighter games. Or if you're like, hey, these are my Street Fighter games, these are my GTA games, these are my, this other, game and whatnot, you can also break it down that way as well. So then the people that really love what it is that you're doing, they can go in and they can find it, and then they can go and find all of the content and just sit back and watch all the videos that they enjoy around the things that they enjoy. The next thing I want to bring to your attention, and this one is really important, so I hope that you're still here, is this right here. So what you are doing right here is a violation of YouTube's community guidelines. This is called tag stuffing, and you can actually get a community guideline strike for this. So when it comes to tags, during the upload process, you have a tag box. That's where tags should go. What you're doing right here, this is called tag stuffing or keyword stuffing, and it's a violation of YouTube's community guidelines. So because of that, what you want to do is you are allowed to put hashtags in your description. So if you're gonna put a stack of tags like this, make sure they're hashtags. If you are going to use tags, make sure that you put them in the tag box that you see during the upload process. And then that way you stay compliant with YouTube's community guidelines and you don't have to worry about it. So if you hang out in any YouTube communities anywhere, for everybody here, one of the things you're going to see is you're going to see people coming in and being like, oh my gosh, YouTube just, deleted my channel for no reason. There's always a reason, right? And in a lot of cases, it's things like that, to where maybe it's somebody that's getting started and they're not up to speed yet on the YouTube, community guidelines. And they'll do stuff like that because they'll see other people doing it on YouTube. So they'll do things like that. And you just don't know. And, like if you don't know, you don't know. But, that's just, what happens sometimes. So because of that, Mr. Bad Gamer, just make sure as soon as you can, like as soon as you have some downtime, go in and remove that from all of your videos. You can replace them with hashtags, make sure they're relevant to the game that you're playing. But make sure that you move those into the tags area. Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. And hey, welcome to YouTube. I would keep going, but because you're a new content creator, like there's, some of that stuff that I was talking about, like I would just focus on that right now. It's really easy, by the way, since you're new to YouTube, let me just talk to you here real quick. So it's really easy to, participate in streams like this, for example, and be like, oh, I got to do this. 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 And you do, right? You got to do all these things. But the thing that you should do is you should like focus on like something first, right? Like, okay, I'm going to spend the next like 30 days with every video I publish, just working on titles. And I'm really thinking through titles and being really intentional with my titles. In fact, I'm going to be so intentional that before I even decide to make the video, before I commit to making the video, first, I'm going to work out a really good title. And when I'm writing that title, I'm going to think to myself, okay, what about this? Lets the viewer know what it is that this is about. 2, is there anything, compelling or exciting or anything like that I can add to this, or anything interesting that I can add that would make a viewer go from like, oh, that looks like an interesting video that I might watch later, to like, oh, I should watch this now, right? And is there anything that I'm adding to this title that would make it disqualify some people from accessing the content or from being interesting to them. So work on that right now. Work on the packaging. So work on the thumbnails, work on the titles. And then after you get all that stuff sorted, come back on, another stream at some other time. And then hopefully we can get you pulled up there too. And then, we'll talk about some other things. But right now I would just focus on that and learning how to package up the videos, because you're new, right? There's a gajillion things you can try to do right now, but the things that are going to make a difference for you and for everybody here, the only things that really matter, you can do all the little optimization things, and that will add up over time as your content library grows, you get more traffic flowing through your channel. But the things that really matter are your ability to come up with really good topics that matter to the people that you're trying to reach. Reaching, like knowing that you're targeting a very specific, audience with your content. Learning how to package it up in terms of, the title and the thumbnail, so that it grabs their attention and makes them want to come in and watch the content. And then, of course, the video content itself. If you work on those things, if you ignore everything else, if you ignore like, hey, I'm going to set up my channel page this way, I'm adding links to my descriptions, I'm pinning comments, all that stuff. If you ignore all of that, that's fine. Those things help, and it definitely adds up, and you should definitely 100% do those. If you don't, you're missing out. But the thing that you should focus on first and most importantly is who am I serving with my content? What's the value, right? That's important too, that I'm providing. Learning how to write titles, learning how to make thumbnails, and learning how to make good video content that people respond to well. If people are clicking on your videos at a competitive rate because you've packaged them well and you've come up with good ideas, and by packaging, I mean your thumbnail and your title, and they have a good experience with your video content, that is all you need. If you can do those things at a high level that are competitive against all the other videos that YouTube is recommending, the people that they think your content is also a good fit for, if you can compete with those other videos, you'll do awesome. But if you try to do everything, right, then it makes it really hard to get really good at, at the important things. So make sure that you focus on the important things first, and then, work on, and then work on all the other like optimization things and stuff like that. So, that's why we spend, a majority of the time talking about thumbnails, and titles, because those are the things that are the most important. So on that note, thank you so much for hanging out. We're going to be doing these again in the very near future. So make sure that you are subscribed to the Tube Spanner YouTube channel. I would keep going, but right now it's like, it's 12:30 midnight here, like 12:30 PM. So we're going to wrap it up. So thank you everybody for hanging out. You can find out more about Tube Spanner down in the video description. It's a productivity tool that should be a part of your toolkit. There are free feature and there are paid features, in there as well. So you can just try it out and see what works best for you, but definitely make sure you try it out. And everybody have a fantastic rest of your week, and make sure you're subscribed here so you can come in on the next one. Also make sure if you are coming from my channel that you also just keep an eye out in the community feed, because I'll post them over there too when we are going to be streaming over here. So have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and for those of you that I looked at your channels, feel free to DM me on Twitter if you need clarity. I'm not going to like, do another review, but like if you, like on the channel, but if you're like, hey, you mentioned this, or I didn't really understand, that thing you're talking about, reach out and I'm more than happy to, walk you through it and explain it in detail. I'll make a video if I have to, whatever. But if I looked at your channel, then just reach out to me on Twitter and I'll help you out. So have a great rest of your week and I'll see you next time.